Shalom. I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the web .org. I'm speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. The subject of my short Torah lesson is Passover, the holiday of Emunah, the holiday of faith and trust in God. We know that as we celebrate the Exodus from Egypt, we saw great miracles. But here, right now, in our time, this past Motzi Shabbat, this past Saturday night in Israel, we saw the greatest miracles. We saw the miracles of God saving the Jewish people in Israel from what could have been a horrible, horrible calamity. With over 350 aerial threats sent to the land of Israel from Iran, and not any significant damage. 99.9% were intercepted. Those of you who think that this is because of the great technology of Israel or the assistance from our allies are totally missing the boat. This was nothing short of a miracle, of many miracles that God performed for us, equivalent to the crossing of the Red Sea, things that don't happen by nature alone. As we go into Pesach, we are told, B'chol dor v'dor, chayav adam laharos es atzmo, kehu yotza ata b'shuva Mitzrayim. We should remember that every one of us should think of ourselves as if we just now got out of Egypt. If God had not brought our forefathers out of Egypt, we say at the seder, Hare anu uvanenu v'nei v'nenu v'shubadim hayinu l'far Mitzrayim. We and all of our children would be slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt today. And the language of the Torah is not in the past tense. It is in the present. We would be slaves today. Not that we would have been slaves, we would continue being slaves, but today. And we say, in the Torah it says, Kel motziam mitzrayim. When Bilam is trying to curse the Jewish people, he says, God brings them out of Egypt. Again, not the past tense, but the current, present tense. And that is true. As we look at the events of this past Saturday night, we see the hand of God at every single missile that was fired at the state of Israel. We say at the seder, "V'hi she'amda l'avoseinu v'lanu shelo echad bilvad amar aleinu l'chaloseinu." In every generation, our enemies want to destroy the Jewish people. Ela sheb'chol dor v'dor omdim aleinu l'chaloseinu. Even though they're standing against us to destroy us, nonetheless, v'hakadosh baruch hu matzilenu miyadam. God saves us from their hand. Pesach is called the Rosh Hashanah of Emunah. The the beginning, the headquarters of Emunah B'tochen, of faith and trust in God, because we know that God wasn't just there thousands of years ago to take us out of Egypt, but God is with us right now to save us and to show miracles each day. And we as Jews need to have that Emunah, that total trust and belief in God, that God is looking out for us every single moment. With regard to the attack this past Saturday night by Iran, there was a very interesting article written by a professor of physics who formerly worked in the Israel Defense Agencies, in the industry. And he was involved in some of the cutting the, the, the cutting edge technologies that Israel used in its defense. And he said, when he looked at what happened on a scientific level, he says it simply statistically could not have happened. He said the likelihood that everything works out does not exist in a complex system. He says the systems that were used to defend Israel from the massive Iranian attack had never been tried before to such an extent. And the managers of the industries who created these systems themselves guaranteed at best a 90% success rate. But this was 99.9% success rate. He says the probabilities of such a thing happening are impossible to calculate. He says the large number of events that had to be handled, where each missile is handled independently, and you can't have any human error or any deviation in one operation, because that all the different systems that are working together compound the chance of making a mistake. And he says it would have been expected that there would have been some breach in the defense of the skies of Israel, but it didn't happen. He sent everyone, the pilots, the system operators, and the technology operators, acted as one man at one moment in total unity. And that, of course, reminds me of the time that we Jews stood before receiving the Torah. It said, Vayichan ha'am neged ha'ar. In the singular, we stood as one person, one heart, one thought. What we need and what we needed is to recognize this miracle. If you think it was just happenstance, you're missing the boat. Understand that God is here protecting us, and we need to have the Emunah and trust in God, the faith and trust in God, that God is with us, has been with us in the past, is with us today, and will continue to be with us. And as we go into Pesach this coming week, and as we go into the seder, let us be thankful that we have Emunah. Emunah in God, belief in God, is genetically a part of the Jew. Let us recognize that. Let us not despair. Let us not worry. Worry is a wasted emotion. Let us not be angry, because that's akin to idol worship. Let us simply have emunah pshuta, simple faith in God, that God is with us at every moment of our lives, in every situation that we are in. And the nights that seem to us as nights and darkness are really the light of day. I wish everybody a Chag Kosher Sameach, a happy and healthy Passover where we can see continued redemptions from God. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach.